Hello, hello. I should, in theory, be live on both Twitch and YouTube for the first time. It's not something I normally do. I've been almost exclusively on Twitch for quite some time. So hopefully we'll get a few people in and we can have a chat about what's going on in the world, why it's so awful, and what we can do about it. I know it's weighing on a lot of people's minds, and it's definitely weighing on mine. Definitely. Please excuse my voice. I have a cold. My children love to just share the germs, and it's a nightmare. I am just making sure that my alert has gone out on Discord. It has, yay. So hi, good morning, Shadow Winchester. Good morning, Yvonne. How are you both? How are things going for you? I'm hoping this is all going to work. This is the first time I have done YouTube and Twitch at the same time. So fingers crossed it's working. It appears to be, because Shadow looks like they are on Twitch, and Yvonne Hates Injustice is it looks like you're on YouTube. So I think I managed it. I think, yeah, it's working. How are you both? Well, I really wish, Shadow, we could get you to a place where both health and both physical and mental health are doing okay. But I am so sorry you're struggling physically at the moment. I am sending you big hearts, big hearts. I hope that helps. It probably doesn't, but I hope it does. Because it's naff. It's naff when you're not feeling great. When there's pain or oh, don't be sorry, because this is one of those spaces where you can come in and say everything is shit, and it's shit all of the time, right? That's what I'm here for. That's what we are here for as a community, and to help pool our collective knowledge to be able to get through what is honestly just horrific at the moment. And I wish I had better news. Like I wish I could log on and do a live or do a video, and for once it not all be an absolute shit shower outside in the wider world, right? I really wish that was the case. It's not. And this is why I've been talking about radical acceptance, right? We have to accept that this is the shitty situation we are all in, and kind of protect ourselves, defend ourselves from the what is happening the best way we can, protect ourselves, our family, our collective, our wider community, and put some positivity out there. We can only change the little bit of the little bit of the world that we're in, right? The little corner of the internet, or the little corner of our situation. And it is so important that we do that. And it's by doing that, we slowly make the world a better place. That is all we've got, to use our voices and make the things that we can make better, right? Oh, I'm going to put you up on the screen so that Shadow can see this. Tell Shadow I love them. Yes, we do. I am really glad that you're doing okay. I'm sorry that you are getting really impatient. That sucks. I hate waiting for things. I absolutely hate waiting for anything, really. I'm so impatient for things to just be done. I want active change. as quickly as possible, and that's just not how the world works. um yes, kindness and compassion go a long way. And compassion doesn't necessarily mean forgiveness or letting people off when they're not acting appropriately or they're putting negativity out there. But if we start everything with if we come at everything from a place of compassion, that makes a big difference, doesn't it? Um, and that starts with ourselves, having compassion for ourselves. That doesn't necessarily mean forgiving ourselves, although we should work on that. It also means kind of looking at the whole situation that we're in, and what we can learn from that. Um, you know, could we? We can always look at things and go, "Yeah, I could have dealt with that way better. I know I can." But it is also about having that compassion of what led us to do, say, act in the way that we have. What can we do to prevent that? But looking at the whole situation, we are the sum of our whole of all of our parts. We're not just that moment. So it is, it's about compassion. um Paperwork is a nightmare. It is absolutely a nightmare. Name changes are a nightmare. I think I said to you all over on Twitch last time that these places don't allow for lots of name changes. They don't allow for the assumption is that you get married, you change your name, and that's it. Not that you change it back if you get divorced or if you change your name by deed poll or whatever mechanism is in your country. Oh, that is super exciting. That is really exciting. Will you officially be Shadow? Because I love that. I absolutely love that. Yeah. And things are getting harder, right? It's getting harder to, sorry, reaching for my coffee, massive, extreme close up of my face. It's getting harder to change your name and identify the way you need to identify, not want, need, because it's a mental health thing. Um, it is absolutely a mental health issue to change your name. As someone, I've got Andy up on the screen. That's not how I identify, but it's how you all know me. And I'm a bit stuffed with that. I in my real life, I try to go by my middle name. Not that many people have accepted that change. And I constantly feel like I'm being dead named. And I can't imagine how difficult that is for people who have moved forward into the life that they identify with. And if anyone out there is going to be a troll and be an asshole about trans and non-binary people, fuck you. I am a woman. As much as I identify as anything, I identify as female, and I feel like I'm being dead named because people use the wrong name for me. It actually affects everyone. If you're out there and you have a nickname or a shortening of your name and you don't like it when someone calls you by your full name, that's exactly how it feels for other people. Just it's a million times worse. So yeah, trying for years, and it took so long for the law to pass so we could request it. We will also legally be non-binary. That is awesome. It is about time we accepted that, because We know science tells us that there are hundreds of genders, hundreds. Um, it shouldn't be a political issue. It just shouldn't. It's bullshit. Cruelty is the point. Um, all down to mum and dad rushing and making mistakes. Huh? Is that to do with Steve's birth certificate and name changes and stuff? Oop. Jeff is having a clean and saying hi. Yeah, it shouldn't be a political issue, and it has been made a political issue by Trumpism and MAGA. For the amount of people that are actually trans and non-binary, they've turned it into a massive to-do. And my trans and non-binary friends over in the States know that they're next. Like the mass deportations and the cruelty that goes along with that is horrific. And, you know, everyone's on the list unless you're white and male. And it's not okay. It is beyond that. I could go on a tirade of just swear words over it because it is disgusting. To treat people as subhuman is, I cannot wrap my head around it, because I couldn't imagine treating someone like that. You know, it's awful. Yeah, Shadow, you know, people in the US who are trans, non-binary, black, brown, indigenous are all, and women and children are all being subjected to the cruelty and the punishment for just being born the way you are. And, you know, I would love my friends over in the US to just move here, anywhere, move to Canada, just somewhere that isn't there. The problem is the more people that do that, the more likely it is that the US will become solidly fascist, solidly cruel and awful. The supposed Christian version of, you know, IS or Al Qaeda. Oh, right, I see. I have two different names in Gibraltar. My middle name is my last name. In Britain, I'm known as my dad's last name. It's my, yeah. What a nightmare. What a nightmare. I can't imagine how difficult that is to sort out. I really, really can't. What a nasty situation for everyone to be in. And I want to fix it, right? I want to fix it. I want to scream from the rooftops. Because all of these things are easily fixed if the people in power want to fix them. With Trump and his cronies, and I've said this on X and Threads and other places, the cruelty is the point. For Trump, we've got to start thinking of Trump like we do kind of Ted Bundy and BTK and people like that. I am not saying that Trump is a serial killer. What I am saying is that is the mentality that we have to attribute to him. Cruelty is the point. Power and torture and suffering is the point. It's the control. Trump doesn't actually have a position on trans issues because he hangs out with Caitlyn Jenner, and Caitlyn Jenner can use whatever bathroom she wants when she goes to Mar-a-Lago. He doesn't care. It's the cruelty. He doesn't care if he is punishing one person or 100 million people. He doesn't care. It's the suffering that he gets off on. He likes that power. And what he wants is an empire to rule with an iron fist, but he doesn't actually want to do the work. And he has surrounded himself with people who are also psychopathic. They are white supremacists, they are religious fanatics, and the cruelty is the point. So this whole situation is a marriage made in hell, because Trump gets to swan around feeling important and watching the fear and the suffering, which he equates to the same as respect, and it's not. And his cronies get their agenda through. Everything that he has signed as an executive order is straight out of Project 2025, straight out of it. He doesn't care because he's getting what he wants. He's getting his yah-yahs from making people suffer. And the people around him are getting their yah-yahs because they get to be a white supremacist out loud and proud. They get to be misogynistic and just burn everything down to the ground. These are people that enjoy burning things down. That is the whole point. And when people understand that when Trump makes one of his funny jokes, like annexing Greenland, and it isn't annexation, it is invasion. That started out as a joke, and all of his cronies went, oh, he's just one of Trump's jokes. No, he is serious. If he says something as a joke and then repeats it a second time, he is serious. Just the same as running for a third or fourth term, destroying the Constitution, which he's trying to do with executive orders. You know, the list goes on. This is a guy who wants power. He doesn't care about his legacy. He's said in the past that he doesn't care what happens or how people think of him after he's dead, because he'll be dead. He won't know. He wants to see it now. He has wanted his face up on Rushmore for a very long time. And honestly, it belongs there with other white supremacists. Rushmore was meant to be a tribute to 5 Native American chiefs that were instrumental in building the ideals of America in terms of freedom and liberty and everything else. And the guy who originally designed it was then sacked, and someone took over and decided to put a bunch of white guys. I think the majority of them were slaveholders. You know, Trump belongs up there with the rest of the people that have been lionized because of some of the good things that they did, and not remembered for the really awful stuff that they did. You know, hello Dipsy Coo, thank you for lurking. I really appreciate that. You are awesome. I hope you're having a great time with your friends. See, Trump is a fascist, Yvonne. He is absolutely a fascist. He is a dictator. His ideals, I mean, he is racist. He is a misogynist. He hates women. But he actually doesn't have a firm position on anything outside of that. Trans rights, abortion, whatever else. He doesn't. If you listen to him, even talking about it in one conversation, in one question and answer session, he doesn't have a clue because he doesn't care. He doesn't have those ideals. The people around him do. And they are quite happy to abuse him as a guy with some severe mental health issues that are not treated, they're quite happy to manipulate him into positions where he feels smart, but they get their agenda passed. Um, he's all about looks. He's all about how people look on TV. He is living in a fantasy land where this is, season 250 of America. Everything is about the power of fame and not being famous for any particular reason. Not actually, like, he is the classic example of failing upwards his whole life. He's not that smart. He hasn't got anywhere by merit. The same with Elon Musk. Both of these people they're Nepo babies. They were born into money and have failed upwards. So them talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and how America is now suddenly a meritocracy is just laughable, because they failed upwards. They haven't got anything on merit. Trump is a performer, and that's how he got it. That and a shit ton of money from Elon Musk. Yeah, Shadow, the problem is we are stuck. Those of us who have really strong empathy and want to fix the world can't. We can't rescue people that are in America. We can't, we certainly can't run for office or anything. So what can we do to protect those people? Well, letting them know that you're there. Stay aware, but not overwhelmed. And that's really difficult. That's really difficult. And that's why I wanted to talk about independent media as well. You can stay aware without being overwhelmed. And that's a phrase that Don Lemon uses. You might know Don Lemon from CNN. He was unceremonially got shot of for standing up to this bullshit. And he started his own YouTube channel, and like he's on TikTok and a few other places, where he informs without overwhelming. Yeah, Yvonne, you have hit that on the head, right? What happened to the wealthy building beautiful architecture that we admire today? Yes. What happened to the philanthropy of these kind of people? What happened to them building orphanages or promoting things like becoming foster parents or children's charities? What happened to them working with the unhoused, veterans, whatever else, like John Stewart? These people are about accumulating wealth. They cannot spend their money in 100 lifetimes. But the idea, they want the wealth so no one else has it. That is the only point. Again, it comes down to cruelty being the point. They want as much money as possible so that no one else can have it. That is it. That is it. That is it. So we need to Trump-proof our lives. We need to Trump-proof the people that we love. Staying informed but not overwhelmed is a big part of that. Searching out people like Don Lemon, Midas Touch Network, Boston Brian is a big one that I love. Brian Tyler Cohen, Jesse Dollemore. You may not resonate with all of these people as your kind of people. Voice of Reason podcast. Some of them, like Jesse Dollemore, insults people a little bit more than I'm comfortable with. Or some of the ways he discusses stuff is quite in your face. But I respect him and I respect his integrity. And I respect him. I trust him to tell me the truth. Richard Ojeda, look up Ojeda Live. He's a former, he's a retired major from the US Army, and he was a congressman. I think he's going to run again. These are people that have a wider knowledge of the world because they've traveled, because they've been in the military, because they've seen the things that people see outside of the Nepo bubble. Independent media is really important. Facts first. Opinions are really useful. But facts and explanations of what these things really mean, and the fact that they affect the world. I've had a few people kind of go, "Oh, you're English, you don't get a say." Fuck you. Yes, I do. I absolutely do get a say because this affects everyone. Our prices here in the UK are going up because Trump is playing silly buggers and doesn't know the rules of the game. And those silly buggers then translate to the global economy, because we are all linked, whether you like it or not. So, yes, it affects us. It also sets a tone for how politicians around the world comport themselves. Last time Trump was in office, we got fucking Boris Johnson. Yes, he was qualified, but he's a bumbling idiot that says racist shit. Nigel Farage got way more publicity than he should have done and was able to control the narrative of that election. So, yes, it does affect us. And when you've got Trump cronies bigging up the ADL in Germany and telling them to wear their past on their sleeves and not be ashamed of it, we've got a problem. We have got a problem. And when Germany take your likeness down and stop talking about or promoting Tesla and everything else. AFD, not ADL, that's something else. When Germany take down your likeness because of your, salute, I think we should listen to that. It was a salute. The danger to people and every person, not just, we see this in America at the moment. People who voted for Trump, who believed his lies, are now being rounded up and deported, or have had their workers taken away through mass deportations, have been discriminated against and lost their job. And again, the cruelty is the point. He doesn't care about you. Yeah. Every country is built on immigration. Every country. How do I know that? Because we all started in fucking Africa. We're all migrants, if you go back far enough. And it is ridiculous to me that, you've got people like Pete Hegseth sat there saying, diversity is not our strength. My word. So you're saying you just want an army of white dudes, toxic white dudes. America appointed themselves leaders of the free world. And here we are. No one is free right now. No one. Unless you are white and you have a penis. And it blows my tiny little mind. So we need to boost good independent media sources. Oh yeah, and a lot of money. Yeah. You've got to have a lot of money, because they don't care about blue collar workers as long as blue collar workers are towing the line. To them, they are just useful idiots. That's it. Um, so yeah, I mean, everything is really shit. Everything is awful. This is not the 2025 we were hoping for. Um, but we can Trump proof our little corner. We can defend against this by, as Shadow said earlier, standing up with compassion and love and kindness. We are going to kill them with kindness and sass. We're going to have some sass. And we are going to point out the things that they are doing that are just against the laws of nature. You know, there are laws that as a species we have evolved without second guessing it. And there are things that we teach our kids from a very early age that these people have forgotten. So we are going to remind them of that. And we're going to stand up and be allies. And we're going to do what we need to do to Trump proof ourselves and the people we love. So, you know, if you are Black, brown, Indigenous, get your paperwork together. Make sure you have copies of your paperwork so you can prove your citizenship. If you are trans or non-binary, if you can, get your state to issue the right paperwork to protect yourself. Do not submit to searches without legal representation. Be respectful, but demand a lawyer straight away. If someone bangs on your door, you do not have to open that door until you have representation and you have confirmed who it is behind the door and why they're there. Asylum is a thing. Political persecution is something that you can use on immigration forms and asylum seeking forms, and other countries will take you in, at least until you go through that process of seeking asylum, during which time, hopefully, it'll all be over in the States. Yeah, you know, you can do all of those things, protect yourself as much as possible. Make sure you have, you know, at least a week, hopefully more, worth of food in. So, you know, tins of stuff, cereals, rice, pasta, tinned vegetables. So if supply chains have another issue, excuse me, you can feed yourself until things even out, or you can get some kind of understanding of how long things are going to take. And I'm not saying go into the supermarket and buy a million loo rolls. Just make sure you have enough to get you through at least a week, ideally until the next payday. Make sure that your locks are secure, that your kid's school has a backup person. You don't have to tell them whether you're documented or undocumented or anything else like that. But this is really good advice for any parent. Make sure that the school know who you authorize to pick up your kid, just in case. Sorry, I was just catching up on the chat. You know, make sure you've got enough pet food. Make sure that you consistently have enough pet food. I've started using tails.com. I have some referral codes. So if Tails is available to you, and you want a referral code, what do you get? You get 1 month free of dry food. You get 50% off wet food and pet treats and stuff. I get a little bit of something. This isn't a sponsorship or anything else like that. It's just I am a Tails customer, and every month they send you kind of codes to hand out to friends. So we make sure it costs the same for us feeding the giant mutt. It costs the same as buying shitty food from the supermarket. It's better quality, and I know that there is a month's worth of food in there. The rats get a combination that I mix up of bought rat food, and also, cereals and whole grains and what else? The pasta, all sorts of other stuff. So there are alternatives that you can look at, but make sure that you have enough in to survive a few weeks until the next payday, until supply chains are at least a little bit more even keel. Stay informed but not overwhelmed. Look at independent media. Check in with me because I keep up to date. I've always been a US politics junkie. I'm not going to lie, but it gets overwhelming. So I stay informed as much as possible. So if you have questions or anything else like that, if I don't know, I will point you in the right direction. Belle of the Ranch is a really good channel to check in on. It was Bo of the Fifth Column. It's now Belle of the Ranch. She took over so Bo could concentrate on other stuff, because there's only so long you can run a channel like that. But they keep you informed. It's facts with a little bit of sarcasm and dry humor, and it's beautiful. All media, all big corporate media at the moment they're hedging their bets. You look at what's happened with CNN trying to move Jim Acosta to a ridiculous time slot. Like, his show was one of the most popular, most watched, and they wanted to stick him on at midnight and offered to move him to California so that it was 9 o'clock for him or whatever time. And all because he stood up to the lies and questioned someone. The same with Don Lemon. They are capitulating. They are obeying in advance. So independent media, where they're not beholden. I can't remember who it was. Democracy Docket. Mark Elias was on with Brian Tyler Cohen, and they were talking about it. And he said, look, ultimately, we all thought the big corporations, these rich media moguls, were in a position to defend themselves against the Trump White House silencing their critics. And actually, it turns out that they're scared of him. So they're just giving in. They're paying ridiculous lawsuits to settle them, even though it's an easy win for them. They're obeying in advance. It's independent media who have no budget, who have no sponsors, no ads, whatever. They're actually the ones that are brave enough to stand up and say no. And this is why I am a big fan of kind of promoting good, strong, independent media companies like Midas Touch, like The Contrarian. You can find them on Substack. It's Norm Eisen and Jennifer Rubin, Harry Littman of Talking Feds. You can get qualified, lawyers and political pundits who are really good at their job, who have gone independent. Jim Acosta is on Substack. and you can find these people wherever it is you get stuff. So whether it's podcasts or YouTube or Twitch, Boston Brian streams on Twitch twice a week, Wednesday evenings or Wednesday evening our time, and Sunday early evening, I think. These people are out there putting down the work and getting you informed, without having to bow down to the powers that be, who are just giving in advance because they're scared of Trump and his cronies and Kash Patel's enemies list. And this is why, with my channels, I talk about politics because it affects us. You may not do politics, but politics is going to do you. If you want to live the life that you want to be your authentic self, politics is going to affect that. You want good food prices, or you want to travel, or, whatever it might be, you want to play computer games. All of those things are affected by politics, which is why I talk about it and the psychology of it. It is really easy to hear all of this shitty news and go, well, nothing I can do about it. But the problem is if you don't vote and you don't speak out and you don't get involved by it, even just informing yourself, it is going to perpetuate this cycle where that kind of leadership, and I use leadership is doing a lot of heavy lifting there, but that kind of ruling class are always going to be in power. There is a reason why our monarchy is nowhere near as powerful as it was 100 years ago, right? It is important to have your say. Even if the people you vote for don't win, you are still part of sending a message. You are still part of that. And it's about reaching other people. Being part of this community, you all just being here and watching, means that I might be brought up on someone else's homepage. I might get advertised to someone else. And the same with all independent media. It's not just about me. I might reach someone who was maybe on the fence or having doubts and didn't want to talk about it, or has questions and doesn't know where to go, or is struggling with all of this and just needs to know that someone else out there is feeling the same way. And, Trump proofing, right-wing proofing our lives is going to be a big part of what I do this year. My regular watchers will know that I talk a lot about homesteading and home baking and, sorry, it just dropped something, and that kind of thing. It's creative. It makes me feel like I am taking control of something, but also has the added benefit of, helping bring down the cost for me and my family and making sure we're fed. I grow some carrots out in the garden. That's 60p or whatever it is that I don't have to spend at supermarket. And that adds up. And, if I can ever get to the point where I have quail, I won't need to buy as much meat from a supermarket. It's better for the environment. I'm cutting down the miles that chicken goes. I'm not contributing to the amount of waste that goes into the environment and everything else. It is less cruel. I am being self-sufficient. Homegrown always tastes better as well. But it all helps me feel like I'm in control. Even if it doesn't actually save me any money, I feel like I'm in control, and we need that right now. We need to feel like we have some control over our destiny. And the difference between the kind of factions, you listen to Trump and his cronies talk, they want to blame someone. It's the immigrants, it's DEI, which, let's face it, is just a code word for using the N word or the R word, or, whatever. It is just code. Um, Everyone should have maximum autonomy, meaning control of their lives. Yes. And this is what I'm trying to get through to people. And this is why I talk about homesteading and stuff like that. I need to take back control from people like that. And this is the difference between us and people that are just so red pilled that they are kind of treating Trump like a deity. Is we believe everyone should have control. And that also means everyone should take responsibility for their actions. We want accountability for ourselves and other people. They want to blame everyone. They want to blame a brown person or a disabled person or a woman or the trans community, which I am going to scream this from the rooftops, is about 1% of the population, which is less than the amount of psychopaths we have in our population as a global species. Let that sink in. You're not worried about what bathroom a psychopath goes in. Don't be worried about trans and non-binary people, please. Yeah, we want to take control. We want to know what we can do to defend ourselves, to look after ourselves, to look after our family. And this is why I'm talking about the things I'm talking about and why I get so passionate. Because we all know right from wrong. No one is born racist. No one is born hating women or whoever it is. They learn that shit. And we need to teach the next generation to be better than ourselves. Our job is to make sure that we leave the world a better place than when we came into it. And there are some people that are definitely failing. America is not sending us their best right now. So we need to help our American friends and friends around the world Trump-proof their existence. If you know someone who needs to hear this, get them involved. You know, get them to follow on YouTube or on Twitch or both. Get them involved. Share. I will put a set of links to progressive. And when I say progressive, I don't mean lefty liberal radicals. What I mean is people who want society to move forward rather than backwards, people who want us to evolve as a species and get better at what we do. You know, independent media. I'm gonna put a list on my Discord channel for anyone who wants to take a look and sign up to some of these things. Even if you don't pay attention and you don't want notifications or anything, just go and subscribe, because the more subscribers people have, the more reach they're going to get. You know, Boston Brian, he spoke to Brittany Page, and then he went on Jesse Dollemore's show very briefly to talk about one topic. I think it was only about 10 minutes. And in that 10 minutes, he gained like 1,000 followers or 1,000 subscribers over on YouTube. That's huge. We need to boost these people. And because, you know, people like Andrew Tate, and people like that have been doing this for a lot longer than us and have got a bigger following. We need to combat that. Yes. In all of the times that I have been abused in various ways, I have never been abused by a trans person. Over 80% of assaults are by straight white men. What does that tell you? The problem isn't anything other than straight white men. And that is not me trying to alienate straight white men. If you are here, you're here for a reason. If you are watching, it's because you already know this shit. You know? What have I got on the bottom of my mug? Oh, I slopped, apparently. Yeah, you are here for a reason, and, you know, I'm not blaming anyone, I am just saying that, hold on, I'm just gonna sort the dog out. Sorry about that, folks. That was the postie. Oh, yeah, I mean, I have met some really good people. Um, I have met some amazing guys, and that makes it sound like I've slept with a lot of people. Let's put it this way, I know some really stand-up men. Men who are allies to those in need, men who have called out this stuff. Husker, no. Um, Men that have stood up at a time when they've been really needed. But I have also known good guys that haven't. And if you're not speaking up, you're part of the problem. No. Hey, come settle down. Come here. Sorry about the dog barking. He's been so quiet this morning. Yeah, it's one of those things where you need good people of all walks of life to Husker, shh, stop it. To stand up and say something. Oh, I'm going to take him outside. I'm going to take a break. I will be back shortly. I won't be long. Sorry about that. Hopefully I am not still muted. Thank you for hanging around. After the postie has been, Husker likes to do a check of the perimeter because he's an idiot. He is honestly the most scared German Shepherd I have ever known. Yeah. Thank you very much. Sorry about that. Yeah. So I've only got 4 people watching. We're not shepherds, but we're scared Germans. Yes. I think everyone's scared right now. I think, anger is fear turned outwards, sorry. We are scared and we need to use that. We need to use that as energy to look after ourselves and the other people around us, channel the mama bear that is in all of us to protect as many people as we can, including ourselves. And that does mean sometimes we've got to disengage. Sometimes we've got to, step back from everything. But sticking your head in the sand is not going to make the situation any better. And we have to find our communities. We have to find our people and band together. And, allow the people around us to stand up for us as well. We are social creatures. And finding your chosen family, your chosen community, to stand together united. It's the grasshoppers and the ants. I've used this analogy a lot recently. When that CEO, the healthcare CEO, was killed, Elon Musk straight onto Twitter to kind of, CEOs are the lifeblood of the economy, and without CEOs, everything would crash. That is a scared child. That is someone who knows that that's not true. It's not true. It's the boots on the ground that do the hard work. Without them, a CEO is just someone in an office hoping to be rich or pretending, cosplaying to run an empire. There's far more of us worker-ants than there are of the grasshoppers. And without us, the grasshoppers starve. So we need to understand and recognize our power. And that starts with our tiny bit of the internet, or our tiny bit of our community. And using our voice. The Voice of Reason podcast, it was a short video the other day, and it really resonated with me. People are itching to do something. But he raised a really interesting point, which was, if you go out and protest, that is exactly what Trump wants. He wants an excuse to unleash the Insurrection Act and deploy troops on the streets. That's what he wants. He wants the violence. So standing up and using your corner of the internet from your country sends a much stronger message, and there is fuck all he can do about that without absolutely breaking the law, both in his country and ours. And it's going to be up to us to use our voices to help people who are voiceless. It is unbelievably important. And that's everyone, right? That's everyone. And people in Israel and Gaza. It is, the people who need it the most, the people in Ukraine, but also the Russians who don't want to be fighting. Too much blood has been shed Too much. It is a waste of life over invisible lines drawn on a map that people think don't apply to them. It wasn't CEOs that kept us going through lockdown. No, it was general workers in the NHS. Yeah, absolutely. The people that were going to work through the fear, through the worry, you know, the government telling us to go outside on a Thursday evening and bang pots and clap for the NHS was clever propaganda. Because, didn't change anything, didn't help anyone, didn't raise awareness. Well, it raised awareness, but it didn't actually get the PPE that NHS workers needed, that frontline workers like teachers and other people needed. But it was a way of helping people feel like they were doing something. It wasn't necessarily bad propaganda, but I remember being in the old house and hearing everyone cheering and stuff outside. I didn't go outside because my front door was right next to next door's front door, and I didn't want to be that close to them. But also, I was busy making mask ties. So it's a little strip with buttons on that you could hook the earpieces around the buttons rather than around your ears. I sent a whole bunch of them to a hospital down in Southampton for them and their staff, because they all had just these awful sores behind their ears. So yeah, look for the helpers, look for your community is a big part of that, and use your voice. You are not powerless in this situation. None of us are powerless unless we allow them to make us feel that way. And it is really important that we all stand up for that. We all stand up for that. And we make it heard that we're not okay with pausing aid for Ukraine, or we're not okay with shipping Palestinians off to other countries, palming them off on other countries so that Trump can build waterfront property over Gaza. The cruelty is the point, and we need to stand up and say that's not okay. I'm not going to suffer. I'm not going to let you take that power from me. Having been in abusive situations, I vowed I would never let someone do that to me again, and I'm certainly not going to let an elected official do that. And it's one of the reasons why I wanted to go live today. Is to promote this idea of radical acceptance. Yeah, this is a situation we're in, but and I think that's really, really important. We have got to take that power back, and we've got to promote the people that are also using their voices to talk about these things and make sure that we're not part of the problem, that we're not standing idly by, or worse, God, the amount of people on social media that are laughing at the pain and hurt and are, saying things like, I saw a woman the other day say, I'm really enjoying your tears right now. And I'm like, what happened to you? What happened to make you such a nasty, nasty, vindictive person? Is this who you wanted to be at 10 years old? Is this the adult you wanted to grow into? Is this honestly who you thought you'd be? Would you accept your kid crying in the school playground and another kid laughing at them? Because I don't think you would. So why is it okay in your 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever, to do that? When did it become okay to laugh at someone else's misfortune or devastation in some of these cases? It is not okay. It is not okay. This is not what we should aspire to be as human beings. Um, you know, we have got to stand up as a species and say no, no more, no more. Um, So yeah, it's also the end of the month. It's the 31st of January. So now is the time for me to promote some of my other shit. And I'm sorry, I hate doing this, but please head over to Twitch if you're not there, and hit the follow button. Head over to YouTube if you're not there and hit the subscribe button. It's free to subscribe, it's free to follow. You can become a channel member over on Twitch. That really, really helps everything that I do. If you want to do that another way, so I get more of the money, because obviously there are fees and things that get paid out of that, you can go to my coffee shop. The link should be coming up with like StreamYard and the coffee stream bot. You can go there for the price less than a cup of coffee. It's like, I think it's £3 a month, I think. You can become a member there. All of those things just really help. They really, really help, because the more people that do that, the more the channels and things get promoted, the more I can do. I can put some money into resetting up my studio, and get live more often, or record videos more often if you want to hear me rant. And I can be doing more in terms of homesteading and teaching you as I learn and get it all up and running to help you be more self-sufficient and radically accept the situation and stand up in a way that works for you. Share this with friends, share it on social media, go to one of the other independent channels that I'm going to be sharing with you, and join them, because it's the only way to get through this. It's the only way to get through this. What else? I was going to say something else. Oh, I've joined Substack. That's interesting. I've been reading some of kind of following people that have moved into independent media, like Jim Acosta, just because I'm interested. Like, I've liked the way that he has pushed back, and I want to see what he's going to be doing next. But there's some really good information out on Substack, and I'm trying to work out whether I have anything interesting enough to say to put it on Substack. So let me know if there's anything you want my take on, because that might help me work out whether that's a place that is going to be interesting to use. But there's loads of different ways of getting connected with your community in those places. Has anyone got anything that you want us to cover today and discuss as a team? Because I think the other side of doing it this way is that interaction. Like, what is worrying you about the situation? What can we crowdsource information or whatever with? What can we do to support you through what you're going through? Because this is a community. I am nothing without you all. I'm just an idiot with a camera. It's you guys that make this community and make it worthwhile. So I want to make sure that I'm approaching things that are interesting or useful to you, as much as everything else. Sorry, my I've been logged out of one of my tabs, so just bear with me. Remind me later. Sorry, I'm just making sure that I haven't missed anything anywhere. Yeah. And the other thing is that kind of over on Twitch, today is the last day of the month and they tot up everything. And in an ideal world, I'd like a payout this month. I have been like £16 away from a payout on Twitch for ages. This will be my third payout if I can get it this month. If not, maybe next month. Who knows? I'd also like to build kind of YouTube and other places up a little bit, purely so that we can reach other people. That is what when people say hit the like, hit subscribe, and all the rest of it, I mean, it can be a vanity exercise, but it is about getting the reach out there, and bringing people into our community that will help everyone in the community. You know, it's a team effort, isn't it? I hate doing stuff like that because it seems so self-serving. Honestly, it's not ego, it's algorithm, I promise. Sorry, I am. No, that's right. I am just checking. How do I do that? I don't know. Don't know how I do that. Sorry, I am just checking. Constantly signs me out. It's rubbish. Why? Stupid thing. Sorry, I am just checking to make sure that things are still working over on YouTube. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, YouTube is a weird one for me. It doesn't. Oh, still here! Yay! Yeah, YouTube is a really weird one for me. It's not been overly successful. My opinions are wildly unpopular. And you know, it is difficult to crack into YouTube. Twitch is really, it has been way more successful in reaching people and connecting with people from around the world. I love that. But the idea about doing both is to try and boost that, try and get that to a point where we are getting through with our message as a community that compassion is where it's at. We want to support people through what is a really difficult time. It is so important to do that. So yeah, so when I ask you to do all of those things and to go and subscribe on YouTube and stuff like that, it's algorithm. Because when you only have 103 subscribers on YouTube, it's really not a vanity metric at all. Yeah, my ego could not be lower on how poorly I have done on YouTube. I normally watch on Twitch, just fancy to change. Yeah, I mean, I do most of my research on YouTube. And because I am constantly keeping up with stuff, that's where I am most of the time. Twitch is for fun. I try and watch Boston Brian on Twitch if I'm watching live, to help boost his algorithm over on Twitch, because he's doing pretty well on YouTube. I mean, he deserves way more interaction and way more subscribers than he's got over on YouTube. He's absolutely brilliant. I think he's got nearly 11,000 subscribers over on YouTube. But he's funny, and well informed and willing to debate, like willing to talk things out and change his mind. I'm just gonna his show is Blunt Politics. And he's brilliant. He is really, really good at what he does. He's our kind of people. He also has a very English or British sense of humor. And he's hilarious. He is absolutely hilarious. So I thoroughly, thoroughly recommend him. And Tennessee Brando. Mm, he is very Tennessee. But I like his way of doing things because he talks about his experience in the South in a way that has helped me really understand kind of why there is such a cultural difference between the two, like between Middle America and the South. He's also really funny and he doesn't take any shit, and I like that. Another one that I am going to share is it's Coach D. Coach D speaks. He's a really intelligent. He's a professor at a university, but he comes from like a very different walk of life to me. And I like that. I like hearing from people who have lived a very different life, who can give me their perspective on what is going on. These are really good people to follow if you want to stay informed, but not overwhelmed. Coach D has started going live. Brando goes live as well. Boss and Brian is live twice a week. And it's a good mix of humor and staying informed, mocking people and staying informed. Like some of the stupid arguments that come out of politicians and the pretzels that they twist themselves into to justify how they dealt with Democratic presidents versus Republican presidents and that kind of thing. So I really recommend those. I am going to compile a list, and if any of you follow anyone who you think is keeping people informed without overwhelming, let me know, and I will add those to my list on Discord, because I think it is so important. And what I am going to do, because I don't know if this is coming up on YouTube or not, is the Discord channel. If you want to come and join us over there, Orange Man deserves all the mockery. Do you know? Yes. The problem is he is an unserious, mockable idiot, but he's also horrifically dangerous. And it is really difficult to reconcile those things. We are so used to leaders who are diabolical, and we expect a Bond villain, a really smart person who is playing 4-dimensional chess. And what we've got is just a nasty piece of work who is easily manipulated, and that makes him dangerous on a whole different level, in a whole different way. And it is really easy to mock rather than take serious. And really, if what he's saying is horrifically cruel, take it seriously. He means it. Cruelty is the point. If he's just calling people names, don't take him seriously. But if he's saying we're going to bomb Mexican cartels, or we're going to buy Greenland or take it by force. He means it. He means it. When he had his phone call with the Danish Prime Minister, he ended up screaming about the fact that everything is for sale and they will sell to him. The guy's nuts. He has lost all attachment to reality, and the people around him are okay with that. They're okay with using that. And that's what makes it scary. That's what makes it scary. So, resiliency, self-preservation, Trump proofing yourself and your loved ones as much as possible. That is where it's all at. And it is going to be a recurring theme. I'm sorry if it becomes repetitive to people. I will try and keep it as lighthearted as possible and take you on my journey with that to hopefully give you ideas. But and it is good for your mental health to take control of what you can in your lives, and preserving your mental health, staying mentally healthy is going to be really, really important. And this is it is all interconnected. It is all interconnected. And keeping you informed without overwhelming, and showing you the ways which we can Trump proof ourselves, save ourselves some money, make sure that we are doing everything we can to provide for ourselves and the people we love, physically, emotionally, in terms of food or financially, or whatever it might be. All of these things are connected, and the way we're going to get through that the next 4+ years, because even if Trump leaves office in 4 years, Trumpism isn't going to be over. Much like going back to my serial killer analogy, he's not going to stop until he's stopped. And I don't mean in a violent way. I mean that unless he hits that brick wall of resistance of, his own people saying no, he is not going to stop. Serial killers don't just stop killing. They don't stop with their rituals and obsessions. That's not how it works. It is an addiction. Cruelty is an addiction. All of these things are addictive. Even being, playing a victim and blaming other people, that is addictive. Gives you a rush, gives you an endorphin rush. So it's going to take time for that to disappear. So it is about, moving forward and doing what we can to help each other and ourselves. And I'm sorry I've been repetitive, but I am really passionate and dead serious about this. We have to work together to get shit done, for sure. So yeah, I have now been live for an hour and a half, just over an hour and a half. I am knackered. I need a drink, and I need to submit my self-assessment tax form. It's just that is depressing. I hate doing it because technically I'm self-employed and I have to log it, but I make a loss. Every year I make a loss, and it's just depressing to see all of those sad numbers on the page. Yeah. And I'm trying to build it up slowly but surely around my physical health, my mental health, my kids, the limitations to where and when I can work. Because it's, if nothing else, I just want the end total to not have a minus next to it on my tax return. That would be great. Like, even if it's just 0, I'd be fine with that. it's not going to be zero for a while. People don't realize how much it costs to run a YouTube channel or a Twitch channel or whatever else, because there's lots of stuff that you have to pay for behind the scenes. Juggling life is hard. It really is. It really is. And the studio's been taken over by my other half and his modeling stuff, which is is the way it needs to be. I was going to try and turn the spare bedroom into both a spare bedroom and a bit of a studio, but we're running out of seating space down here now. The kids are a bit older, so the furniture I was going to put in there, I now need to get downstairs, and I can't get it downstairs until we can find someone strong enough and stable enough on their feet to be able to help the other half with that. So I'm back to square one with the studio, but since I was getting my laptop out to do my taxes and stuff today, I thought, well, I could, I've got my microphone, got my phone as my camera. I could do a little live. I could see if I could get things working. But yeah, it is really, really hard, but I want to try to get more serious with this, because I think people need it. People need a community right now. People need to feel like they're not the only one that's going through it, and there is something we can do. We can take control of the things that we can take control of. If you are new, please hit the follow over on Twitch, or the subscribe button over on YouTube. I really appreciate that. Makes a big difference with the algorithm. It really does. Or share with a friend. Or you can hit the notification bell without subscribing to see when I'm live next, to test things out again. You can always unsubscribe it if you fancy. I'm not judgmental. Right. I'm going to head off. I'm going to get some lunch. I'm going to face my taxes. But thank you very much for being here on this impromptu live. I really do appreciate you. Go back and watch the video, hit the thumbs up, or leave a comment or something if you like. And hopefully I will speak to you soon. I am sending you huge love. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great weekend.